Welcome back into another edition of Across the Conference, presented by Allstate, along with Sydney Staples. I am Ari Temkin, and it is a busy time of year, Sid. We've got the end of the winter sports, the beginning of the spring sports, so much to dive into with gymnastics and women's basketball and wrestling and swimming and diving and lacrosse and softball and baseball and, oh my, it's a lot.
How are we already in diamond sports season? Like, I understand that the Super Bowl just concluded, and so now everybody who's a sports fan is so excited for MLB and everything to start up. But truly, at the collegiate level, I'm like, where did January go? How are we already in February? What is going on?
Yes, no, it's very well said. Give us the latest updates on gymnastics, because there's pretty significant news when it comes to Big 12 gymnastics.
Now, both Utah and Denver are still performing ever so well in Big 12 conference. I mean, they're still undefeated. And that's something that we anticipated when we first began talking about gymnastics all that many weeks ago. But something we could not have maybe seen from so far away, Iowa State women's gymnastics has now canceled their season due to an insufficient number of athletes who are able to compete right now. Up until this point, they were 2-8 in conference, and unfortunately, this news comes just a few days after they had to cancel a meet against WVU, but it's kind of giving me a little bit of a flashback to COVID, where all of a sudden a season is canceled for these circumstances that by no means nobody wants to experience.
Yeah, and look, it has not been a great season for Iowa State to start. I mean, the 2 wins they have against their 8 losses are against Bridgeport and Illinois State, but you feel for the athletes. You know, they're competing, they're doing their best, they're showing up, that have put all the work and time in to get a scholarship to go compete at this level. And hopefully this is not a long-term thing at Iowa State. But yeah, I mean, pretty significant news, obviously, and will impact the rest of the schedule for the rest of the season. You also mentioned, just to reiterate, the Red Rocks remain undefeated, Denver as well. So the top of the Big 12 shaping up to be very, very interesting. We've already talked about the growth of BYU's program, Arizona State. So it should be a lot of fun for the rest of this season. All right, women's basketball.
Yes.
And it's heating up. We get TCU and Baylor, maybe the game of the season on Thursday night in the Big 12. And I mean, I think as we talk about Iowa State canceling the gymnastics season, Sid, on the other side, their basketball team has really started to awaken.
They're still very much in the mix when we're looking at the big dance that's really coming our way here very shortly. Another craziness, March Madness is quickly approaching us. But back to Iowa State, Audie Crooks. I mean, we all have seen how much of a headline she is for the program nationally. But the fact that she's scoring anywhere from 24 of her 26 points to the second half just alone, that's that kind of effort and energy you need to get you through the remainder of the game. And she's somebody that I've really enjoyed watching.
Yeah, Iowa State now with 5 straight wins. This has been a season of streaks for Iowa State, good and bad. They had a streak to start the year as undefeated, then lost, I think, 5 in a row. Now they've rebounded with 5 straight wins, and they've figured some things out. Bill Fennelly's crew once again rounding into form around tournament time. Thursday, it's TCU and Baylor. Baylor's obviously been, you know, one of the major storylines across this season in the Big 12, and so is TCU, with Olivia Miles being, you know, maybe the player of the year so far in the Big 12.
Right now, just was named the conference player of the week. She had a career high in TCU's loss to Colorado. And it's interesting that you and we continue to talk about how strong TCU is, because 3 out of their last 6 games have been losses, really tight ones. I mean, for example, the Horned Frogs losing to Colorado just right in that late end of the game, just the final seconds. We're talking just a 1-possession loss for them, but you know, when you have a player like an Olivia Miles who is able to carry the team and all the momentum, we're talking about coaching staff. It's something that I think you use a game like that as fuel to the fire when you head into this matchup with Baylor here soon.
Yep. So far, it looks like Baylor, TCU, Tech, West Virginia are all in terms of bids to the NCAA tournament. Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Utah, probably, you know, not too far behind. You'd guess those teams are also going to get bids. And then there's Arizona State, Colorado on the bubble. So we'll see as this continues to round into form what it looks like for the NCAA tournament in the Big 12. Let's talk wrestling. Missouri defeats West Virginia. Big win for them this week, 26-13. And it was really what the Tigers did kind of at the back end. At 149, at 174, at 184, at 197. So, I mean, the big boys are slaying for Mizzou wrestling. And there's some pretty big leverage duels coming up here. Missouri and Oklahoma on February 12th, West Virginia, Iowa State on February 13th, and West Virginia, Northern Iowa on February 14th.
A lot of big wins for the big boys. And again, we're talking about, things that are happening on the court, both gymnastics when it comes to that and wrestling for the mat. But Ari, I'm excited. I want to talk these diamond sports. I want to talk softball after their first week of competition, and then baseball coming up here shortly.
Yes, baseball on the way. Softball has already started. We're getting into that next. This is Across the Conference with Sydney Staples. I'm Ari Temkin. We're presented by Allstate on Big 12 Studios. Welcome back, Across the Conference, presented by Allstate. Along with Sydney Staples, I am Ari Temkin here on Big 12 Studios. And let's take a trip across the diamond, shall we? Softball now underway. Baseball is about to get started. So a lot going on. Tommy LaPour, the stud right-handed pitcher for TCU, joins us in the next segment to break down the upcoming season. But Sid, some pretty marquee softball matchups this week to start things off. And, well, at least one big win for Arizona. Arizona went and lost 2 of 3 to Oklahoma. But to beat them once, I mean, Oklahoma's a team that traditionally doesn't lose very often at all. So to get the one win is huge. Oklahoma also did beat Arizona State as well. But you're just not going to find many losses on Oklahoma's schedule at all. So a win by Arizona is huge.
Isn't that the whole purpose of these this preseason,
Yes.
or really in season, is to get a feel? How has your team,
The non-conference.
exactly, fared in terms of who it is that you have recruited, what that off-season work has looked like, and how that's now going to propel them into the rest of this coming season?
Texas Tech also got a big win over number 11, Texas A&M 3-2. And so far, through their first batch of games, Tech is just destroying everybody. They lead the league in team batting average at .465. They've already piled up 100 runs and 23 home runs with a monster .940 slugging. So Texas Tech, in just a short period of time, is already killing it to start the season so far.
No kidding. I like what I'm seeing out of softball in this first week, but guess what, Ari? Baseball is back. What do you know about this new preseason pool?
Well, I mean, look, TCU is a national power, and this year they're as good as anybody. I think the Big 12 is certainly a conference on the rise when you look at a program like Kansas, for instance, that was pretty much a non-factor, went and made the tournament last year and had a really good season in the Big 12 tournament in Arlington. So, I mean, just top to bottom. I mean, Arizona State is a program historically that's done really well in baseball. Arizona, Texas Tech, baseball under Tim Tadlock has been really good, and they're kind of at the bottom of the conference right now. So there's new blood. West Virginia's been very consistent. First under Randy Mazey, and now under their new head coach that they picked up right where Randy Mazey left off. So a lot of excitement. But yeah, it starts with TCU. We'll talk with Tommy LaPour in the next segment.
I like that TCU was really the one who garnered all those first place votes. And then as we continue to look down that preseason poll, we're seeing Arizona baseball being picked second after winning the 2025 Big 12 baseball tournament. We're looking at WVU, all right, the 2025 Big 12 regular season champs, and then followed by an Arizona State baseball at number 4, and then Texas Tech working back to that national relevance. A team that we're being told to really keep our eyes out for, but another program, all right, tied for 5th here in this preseason poll. We're looking at Oklahoma State. All right, Now these OSU Cowboys, they are no strangers to performing well across the country. And then when I think about their national relevance, the fact that they're coming off of 30-25 season, they made their 12th consecutive NCAA regional appearance. I mean, it's the nation's 4th longest streak doing so. This is a team that, although they're picked, kind of in the middle of the way a little bit, still a team that we need to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Holliday, what he's done as the head coach there is spectacular, and they're a consistent winner. And when you kind of go through the teams that I mentioned at the top, you forget about Oklahoma State because they've been so consistent and so good. It feels like TCU is just the odds-on favorite to win this thing, but I think there's more teams that are part of that upper tier of this conference, and time will tell who that will be. But there's a grouping of teams: Arizona, West Virginia, Arizona State, Kansas, Oklahoma State, even Kansas State. They've been a consistent winner. So I feel like there's a tier 1 and a tier 2 of this conference, and there are more teams with TCU closer to that tier 1. We're just time will tell who those are.
The road to Omaha starts this weekend. So many of those Big 12 teams going to be here in Texas competing where the Rangers do, opening their weekend here.
Right.
I mean, TCU opening up with Vanderbilt, already such an exciting showcase that we're going to be seeing between the two.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State, TCU going to be featured, in that annual event. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great non-conference matchups for the Big 12 where you get to get a sense of how good this conference is and how good some of the competitors are relative to the SEC, because, it's the one conference games that we get to really see where the litmus test is, where, for the rest of this Big 12. And, obviously winning would be great, and the Big 12's pulled out some wins in these tournaments early season, but it's more of a where are we relative to the SEC right now? Because the SEC is dominant, in baseball. As much as, SEC used to be the dominant force in football, they're not. The Big 10 now is. The Big 12 and the SEC are probably a lot closer than the SEC would like to admit, but the SEC in baseball is legit. It's as good as the Big 12 is in men's basketball. All right, let's talk more baseball with Tommy LaPour, the right-hand pitcher for TCU. That's next. Along with Sydney Staples, I am Ari Temkin. You are locked in to Across the Conference, presented by Allstate here on Big 12 Studios.
All right, everybody, joining us on this week's episode of Across the Conference, presented by Allstate, is Tommy LaPour. All right, TCU baseball, the Horned Frogs. What should we know about the team? What should we know about you heading into this season?
Man, I like to think that we're going to be a very competitive group. Something that you should know about us is, I think we're a hungry team coming off of last year. We were right on the brink of maybe being one of the hosting schools. Obviously didn't get to host, headed up to Corvallis and had a tough 0-2 weekend. And, I thought we collectively played our worst two games on the most two important games of the year. So, I think we're a very hungry team that's ready to come out and prove something to a lot of people, prove it to ourselves, and, get back on track, get back on the road to Omaha.
Yeah. So what went into kind of your off-season preparation in order to, make sure that it doesn't happen again?
Yeah. I think it's definitely from a culture side and just kind of prepping the young guys. TCU has always been a program that has no fear of throwing young guys into the fire. Obviously last year, player of the year, Swear Snyder, and Noah Franco, Nolan Traeger, Mason Brassfield. But I feel like a lot of people know about those returning sophomores, but I feel like I'm really excited about some of the guys that you guys don't get to cover a ton on, like guys like Trevor Baumler, Cade Udy, Zach James, just a lot of these sophomores and a lot of the guys on the team that I'm just really excited for this opportunity that they have in front of them. I think that we're in a really cool spot where a lot of people have been kind of hyping us up and pushing us. The rankings come out, stuff like that. It's easy to get lost in that, but I feel like this team has done a great job of just kind of staying grounded, not taking the cheese, and just continuing to keep the nose on the grindstone and just get ready for day one.
I want to ask you more about some of your teammates. Okay, who of your hitters do other pitchers in the league really need to be keeping their eye out for?
Man, I really think it's going to be 1 through 9, and I feel like that's easy to say from a pitcher's perspective, but I just feel like we have so many guys. Like last Friday, I threw as our last inter squad. Just coming up 1 through 9, it's like, man, this is going to be a tough at bat. But the guys that I just think we're going to hit a lot more home runs this year, which I think is going to be exciting. I think Franco put some weight on. He's going to have a little bit more juice, which is a crazy thing saying. I think Brunson's going to have a ton. I think Stroh's going to be one of the best hitters in the country. I'm really excited to see the lineup that we roll out day one and just see how everything comes together.
With Kirk Saarloos and having a coach that's pitched at the major league level and pitched successfully, how much does that help you, not just within the season, but also having a sense of you want to be a major league pitcher someday. So how much, do you lean on him to get advice, and how much does that help to have somebody that's, your coach that's also been a big league pitcher before?
Yeah, it makes a ton of difference. Just in the way that he runs day-to-day operations. I feel like Los has a great understanding of what needs to be said when. I think the tone that he uses a lot of times is just one of a guy that gets it. But from the pitching side, he has been he's really kind of transformed me as a pitcher. I mean, just kind of looking at the pitcher I was at Wichita State, coming here last year, and then continued to develop into this year. I feel like he's done a great job of preparing me and the staff for, I mean, everything that is thrown our way. But I mean, that's not to discredit Coach Lon at all. I mean, he's in there every single day helping us get better too. But you know, Coach Los does the pitch calling, and me and him have a great relationship there. And I mean, at this point, it feels like when I say the pitch that I want in my head, it's the pitch that I hear from the pitch comm. So I feel like we're really in sync, and he's done a great job of just kind of preparing us from a mental game side and then obviously physical side.
As you've grown as a player, how is it that you've kind of found your arsenal? Like, what do you feel so confident with up in that mound?
You know, I feel like I've became really confident in my preparation. Like, that's something that Coach Claggett talked about back at Wichita State, and then Coach Los here at TCU. Just making sure that I do everything to prepare to put myself in the best situation. But when I get on the mound, obviously the fastball is a lot of fun. I mean, there's no better feeling than throwing it right by somebody. But, you know, I think that picking up the cutter is going to be something that's going to help me a lot. Last year, I thought hitters kind of had a chance to take a guess whether it was going to be a big one, change up, or fastball. But now that I have the cutter in there that's playing off the fastball, I think that it's going to be tough for hitters, and I'm just excited to get some in-game feedback from Vanderbilt.
Yeah. So, okay. So that was one of my questions is, did you add a pitch this offseason, and what goes into that? You know, I mean, sometimes it feels like having an effective 2 pitches is better than maybe a third pitch, but you tell me.
Yeah, man. I think it's a tough process just because of how analytical the sport has gotten. I mean, it makes it easier, but it also makes it tougher. Coach Lovelace is our analytical guy, and we've done a ton of work kind of trying to figure out this cutter. It's something that Coach Los told me about when he was recruiting me out of the portal as a pitch that he really wanted to work on. Obviously didn't have the chance to do it last year, just kind of got a little bit busy and caught up in focusing on other things. But this fall, he wanted to really take the time to slow me down during my ramp up to make sure that we were able to work on adding this cutter. And I mean, it was a tough pitch to pick up there for a while. It was just a bad fastball that got hit a far way, but I mean, hopefully we figured it out, made it a little more consistent.
Does your experience having been a wide receiver when you played football and just having wrestled in the weight class that you did, does that kind of stuff, do you find it within yourself whenever you're up on the mound when you're pitching? Does any of that come to you? Can it?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. You know, I feel like a lot of it came from wrestling. Definitely the one-on-one aspect of like, I'm on the mound, that the batter's in the box. Like I just got to go out there and beat you. Like all the lights are on you. So that definitely reminds me a lot of wrestling. But from the football side, I feel like that's more the team and the culture side. Like I feel like you learn how to be a good teammate, work as one cohesive unit more in the football game. But you know, those sports are definitely a part of me, and they're definitely a reason why I got to where I am now.
You know, Tommy, I'm curious about the Omaha Challenge. You know, what is it, and what did you guys do for it?
Yeah, so the Omaha Challenge is 6 different events. We are drafted into 3 different teams by like older guys. And then we did like the first one's a 16-pound med ball, and you throw it backwards for 100 yards, and then you throw it forward for 100 yards. The second event was the pancake race, which is where you have to carry a bunch of 45s. Like it's almost like a suicide with 45s basically. And then we had the fireman challenge, which is like a 70-yard sled push into a 35 backwards. You got to like carry a dummy backwards. It's hell is what it is. We have the Widowmaker, which is where it's like you push the sled down, you run back, you carry this like 100-pound med ball down, you run back, and then you carry these chains down and you run back, and you just try not to die, try not to fall over. It's kill or be killed out there, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh. See, this is what it gets me thinking about your too many golden doodles. And I just want to know, like, would they have any fun? Like, would they have been chasing you guys around while you're going up and back? Like, come on.
That's what we should have done. They would have made it a lot more fun. Everyone would have been a lot happier rather than carrying all those 45s because carrying doodles. But we'll have to run that by Coach Dakin, the idea department.
Yeah, okay, let's make an amendment to that for next year. Okay.
There we go.
Instead of carrying any of the weights, it's going to be your golden doodles. That's how you're going to get your own little bark in the park, all right?
I love it. There we go.
Awesome. Well, Tommy, a last question to close things out here. What do you think that people need to know about this coming season? What is it, if you could sum it up into one word, what you imagine is going to be the season for TCU baseball, what would it be and why?
Man, knowing this group, knowing the people that we are, and being here for 2 years, getting to spend a lot of time with the guys from last year and the guys from this year, I think what we're going to do the most is just have a ton of fun. I don't think that it doesn't matter whether we're winning or we're losing. I think we're going to be energy in the dugout. I think we're going to be a fun team to watch. I think we're going to hit balls hard. I think we're going to throw really hard. I think we're going to do things the right way, and I think we're going to have a ton of fun. I think we're a loose group that loves each other, and I think that's a dangerous thing for a lot of other teams because, we don't have any quit in us, and we're a very, very, very competitive group. We found that out the last couple scrimmages. We've had to break a couple people up, but there's nothing wrong with that. We're chomping at the bit. We're ready to go. We're hungry and we're ready to have a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Tommy LaPour of TCU Baseball. Good luck to you and the rest of your crew this season.
Thank you guys for having me. Ton of fun.
What'd you think?
He's really cool. I'm excited to kind of see what all he's got up his sleeve and stuff like that. As the ace for them, I look forward to seeing that. But Ari, not so fast. I want to ask you, with all your incredible Big 12 baseball knowledge, do you think that this is the deepest conference that we've seen of the Big 12 in recent years?
Yeah, yes. I think, I hate to keep going back to like the Texas OU days, but Texas was a brand in baseball that dominated the conference. Texas Tech had been with them, TCU, but it felt like where we are now, you go as deep as K-State. Look at the top 5-6 teams in the preseason poll. All of those teams can be tournament teams, and based on how things break for them, they could all be Omaha teams. So yeah, I think in terms of variety, up and down, we've seen the growth of Kansas, we've seen the growth of Kansas State. Texas Tech has got to grow, but that's a program, again, historically it's been very good. They've churned out Major League Baseball players. So yeah, unquestionably, this is the deepest the Big 12 in baseball has been in a long time. It's going to be a fun season. Buckle up. Probably say the same thing about Big 12 softball as well. Plenty more to come in the future weeks as we delve deeper into spring sports. And of course, we're rounding out winter sports right here across the conference. Thanks to City Staples, I am Ari Temkin. This is Across the Conference, powered by Allstate on Big 12 Studios.